Okay, moving on to lesson 4.6. We're going to talk about scatter plots and writing equations for scatter plots. So a scatter plot is basically a coordinate plane with data points on it. So for example, it might look something like a bunch of dots, okay? Just data that is being plotted as dots. Correlation means that there's some sort of a relationship between the data. A positive correlation means that as x, or the independent variable, increases, the y, or the dependent variable, also increases. In a coordinate plane, it would look something like this, almost as if it has a positive slope, just like the same thing as if we have a positive slope. Negative correlation, as x, or the independent variable, increases, y, or the dependent variable, decreases. No correlation means that there's really no relationship. Okay, no correlation would probably look something like this, a bunch of scattered data. And for negative correlation, would be going down as a negative slope almost. Line of fit is a line that goes through the data points. Generally, when you're drawing your line of best fit, you want your line to split the data in half, so have the equal amount of data points on each side, but also it should go through at least 2 points of data. So, it says describe the correlation of data, and I'm also going to have you draw a line of best fit. Well, in this case, as x increases, my y is decreasing. Therefore, it has a negative correlation. If I were to draw a line of best fit, remember it's always going to be a straight line through the data. It might look something like this. Okay, it splits the data in half. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 points on this side, and I have 1, 2, 3 points on this side. So it's about as even as I possibly could be. And it goes through at least 2 points of data. Looking at letter B, we have a positive correlation. It's going up. As my x increases, my y also increases. If I wanted to draw a line of best fit, I might draw something looking like this. Through the data points, pretty even on both sides. I have 2 on this side and 1 on this side. But it also goes through 2 data points. So, this is example 2. Make a scatter plot of the data. And this is the main example that we're going to go through here. It says make a scatter plot of the data. So it looks like my independent variable is going to be the year, and my dependent is going to be players. We are going to come up with some sort of a scale here. So for years, let's go, this mark will be 2001, 02, 03, 04, and 05. Then for the players, looks like our lowest number is 105. So I'm actually going to start at 100 and then go up by 5s. 105, 110, 115. And it takes time to figure out what your scales are going to look like. But it's important that you really think it through to make sure that you have room for all of your data points and that they fit well on the graph. Oops, 150. Okay. Now I'm going to graph each of my points. In 2001, there was 105. In 2002, there was 113. In 2003, there was 120. In 2004, there was 132, about right here. In 2005, there was 148. It's going to be up here. So, correlation of this data, as you can see, is going to be positive. Okay, because it's going up as we increase in years. Now, it says write an equation that models the number of girls signed up for a summer softball league as a function of the number of years since 2000. So, you are going to write an equation using the data that we produced. So, step 1 is to graph your best fit line. So we're going to start with that. Remember, our line wants to go directly through the data, and it wants to hit at least 2 data points, but it should also split my data in half. So I'm going to go with that. Yours might look a little bit different from mine, and that's okay. Remember, it needs to be a straight line. I recommend using a straight edge as much as you can. And it looks like it splits my data in half as equally as it can. It has 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and it goes through 2 main data points that I was given. Step 2 is to use the 2 points that the line goes through to write the equation. Okay, so you're going to use the 2 points that the line goes through to write the equation. And we know how to write an equation using 2 points. So the 2 points that my line goes through was 2002, 113. That was the first point. And the second point that my line goes through was 2005, 148. Now, how do we write the equation of a line? Well, we can always put it in point-slope form first, and then solve for y to get it into slope-intercept form. Well, what are the 2 things we need for point-slope form? We need a point and a slope. We have a point. We actually have 2 points that we can choose from, but we don't have a slope. But it looks like we have enough information to find the slope. So let's go ahead and find the slope between these 2 points. 148 minus 113 over 2005 minus 2002. So 148 minus 113 is 35 over 2005 minus 2002 is 3. So we have 35 over 3 is our slope. So now we can plug in for point-slope form. I'm going to use my first point to write in point-slope form. So I have y minus 113 equals m, which is 35 over 3 times x minus, and in this case here, I am not going to use 2002 because we want to know the number of years since 2000, so we can change this to just 2 and 5. Because if I were to plug in a number, let's say 6, that would mean that I'm trying to find out how many players in 2006. Okay, if you have questions on that, please feel free to ask me in class tomorrow. So it's going to be x minus 2. Sorry. And then in order to write this in slope-intercept form, we need to solve for y. So we get y minus 113 equals 35 over 3x minus, looks like that's going to end up being 70 over 3. And then we can simplify from here. We add 113 to both sides. I'm going to have to go ahead and go over to this side now. And I get y is equal to 35 over 3x. And then we have 113 minus 70 over 3. In order to subtract those, we need to get a common denominator. 113 minus 70 over 3. My common denominator is going to be 3. So I multiply by 3 over 3. 113 times 3 is 339 minus 70 over 3 is 269. So my final answer is going to be y equals 35 over 3x plus 269 over 3. So step 1, graph your data. Step 2, do your line of best fit. Step 3, use the 2 points that the line goes through to write the equations, which you guys have done plenty of times now at this point. If it says the number of years since 2000, then you are only going to include the 2 and the 5, or in this case, this could all be changed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's the years since 2000. In that case, it would be the years since 2000.